She doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan.
Her policies on our website are copied and pasted right from Joe Biden's website. They're not even hers.
Bidenomics is working.
Bidenomics is working.
We have the strongest economy in the world.
Our economy is the strongest in the world.
My Build Back Better framework.
Our Build Back Better framework.
To a steady and stable growth.
Stable and steady growth.
We've come so far since my inauguration.
Our country has come a long way since President Biden and I took office.
Nothing says her vision like copy and paste from the boss, does it? Right? I mean, come on.
All right, there we go, brother. That is the opening of our show. We've promised that we're going to continue to have segments from positive pro-Trump ads and different things that we create and stuff we can use from the campaign. There's an example of it. I will say it was very hard to find. Namaset. Yes, Namaset.
And you are? And we are?
I am Jim, and that's my brother over there. He's that way. That way. That's my brother John. We're beating the Matrix with a baseball bat and a bunch of nails through it.
Formerly known as Ballistic Patriot, formerly known as Cincinnati County Patriot, formerly known as Prince.
Right. Yes. So we have a good show for tonight, John. We have
let's get to it.
We're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about. Our plan is to talk about some of the foibles of the Democrat Party. I have a bunch of reels. We have predictions for the
selection. For the selection in 2024.
We don't use the word, just so everyone knows.
The
we don't
E word.
use the word that begins with E and ends in N. And sounds like, what Chuck E. Cheese Schumer said was erection.
Right. We could call it the erection. We could call it the 2024 erection, and we won't get banned.
Erection. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We could call it that.
So
the
if
erection.
you use what he meant it to mean, that would get us banned. We think.
Right. Again. Just like we can't refer to
because we
the
A
word
already.
We can't refer to the A word. We have to call it baby murdering instead. And that's all you leftist nut jobs. So it's called now what it really is. We don't use the A word anymore. We call it baby murdering. And we can't use the E word. We now have to call it selection or erection. The 2024 erection. All right.
You got it. All right. So
that's okay, apparently.
Having said that, let's start off with something fun for us, but not so fun for Tampon Tim. He gets booed outside of the Michigan Stadium, University of Michigan Stadium.
Wow. Wow.
So obviously, John, he didn't get a warm reception, but let's not forget that
this is his home state. This is his home state, correct?
No, this is a state over.
Oh, okay.
Technically, it's two states over. There's Wisconsin, then there's Minnesota. But he's supposed to be the blue collar guy, as we'll get to later, John. He's supposed to be the Joe Biden of this ticket. He's supposed to be the guy that connects with the the little people like us, the nobodies like us, right? He's supposed to be the one that connects with him. The only way he's connecting is at the end of a boo.
Yeah, it sounds like the Eagles. It's like the Boo Birds. But James, if this just goes to show you part of the criminal nature of the fraud of the national media, right? They are completely astroturfing this fake candidate, Harris and Walz. Nobody's voted for either one of these two fools. Nobody. There is zero support for these two people except for the made up support from the fake media. That's it. They are literally being imposed upon us by the aristocrat class. And has nothing to do, nobody, this is no grassroots. This is no, oh, look, I worked my way up. No. These are candidates that are being imposed upon us by the aristocrat class. And it's, you would think just for fame purposes, people would be happy to see them. Not in this case, right? Because they know that these people are being imposed upon us, just the way Joe Biden was imposed upon us, and the way Hillary was attempted to be imposed upon us.
Right, and I think you raise a great point. It's not even just. I feel like there's more to the story. These people are supposed to be so popular that people are running out of their homes to see them, like something you would see in a cartoon. The people are super excited. But there was that video. I don't know if you saw it, and I thought I had it, but I couldn't find it. Of Biden walking into a firehouse to commemorate 9/11, and they didn't even talk to him, and he ended up putting the MAGA hat on. And, and
we should have played that.
There's where I think there's a reason why he's doing it. As addle-brained as he is, I think there's a reason why he's doing it. But then Trump walks in and the crowd goes crazy. They're like cheering and they can't stay. Have you seen that video, John?
Yeah, I saw that, and the New York one where he's in Long Island, and the streets are just lined with Trump fans. Where are the streets lined for the Harris fans? Where are the streets lined for the Harris boats? Where's the boat? The boat convoy and the only thing they have is the fake bus convoy where they rally, where Harris rallies in a bunch of outsiders from out of the state because they're paid, to be there. And there's these long rallies of buses, all from the same, because they're not growing up, independently. They're all from the same, bus firm, because they're being paid to trump these people in for the fake rallies.
John, and I want to make a point about that because, I'm involved in helping to set up the rally up here in Sussex County. We're having a rally.
What day is that?
It's going to be October 20th. It's going to be at Skyline Stadium. Make sure you're there. It's going to be a big deal. The speakers are to be determined and to be announced, but it's going to be live streamed, so you'll be able to watch it live as well. We expect a good turnout, maybe up to 5,000 people to show up. So I'm hoping, or more. I mean, I don't know how many people we're going to be able to fit into that stadium, but we're going to pack it. Like, we've done this before. To be clear, this was done before 4 years ago by a friend of mine, and she was able to, and I did help with the video, and I was part of it, but I make no claim to being behind it for that one. I really was kind of a supernumerary who helped out. But the point being, 4 people set it up 4 years ago, and I see these rallies, I see these, like you were pointing out, this is a rally that's actually happened. People are putting money down to make this happen. Where are the Harris people? Where are the Harris people doing this? The Harris people doing this? Right? Where in New Jersey? I mean, this is a blue state. This is a blue state. How come there are no Harris Walls big rallies?
If she was so popular, where is it? Where are the 100,000 people in New Jersey to come out with her like they did for Trump down by the shore?
And I would say, since this is such a blue state, you'd be very easy to pack someplace like Prudential Center, which could clearly hold, that's the Devils ice hockey stadium. You can pack in all kinds of people there. You got the Met, you got whatchamacallit, the Giant Stadium. You got stadiums all over the state between all the colleges and universities where you could stage a Walls Harris rally, and yet they don't do it. It doesn't happen. I mean, you could do one in Morris County, Menon Arena. Not doing it. Why not, brother? I don't think it's because there's just not enough support.
They are successful at this. Remember that hag Hillary, who's resurfaced? She almost won in 2016. She did. But you imagine, anybody wanting to come out and see and be lectured and hectored and called names by hag Hillary? I mean, yet they've been able to impose this upon us. They've been able to impose this, these Democrats on us. So, I mean,
my point is that we're not going to have President Trump. I don't think we are. I mean, I hope we are. We're only an hour away from it. So President Trump, if you're watching, please show up. That'd be fantastic, right? You can fly right in with your helicopter. We got a place where you can do it, and everything will be fine. You won't be there long. Be a great little trip on your, as you're up in Bedminster, you can come up to beautiful Sussex County. We'll show you around, but we don't expect him to show up. We don't even expect a lot of people to show up, but we're still going to rally and we're still going to draw in a huge number of people. But why are they doing that? And you don't have to have Harrison Walz show up to yours, Democrats. How come you're not doing any rallies? Because no one wants to show up for them, because they're genuinely not excited about her. They're genuinely not excited about the so-called middle-class, blue-collar guy who likes to see a city burn and whose wife loves to smell it. I mean, that's them, John. I mean, we got to get into the show, but I don't see it happening. I don't see any of these, and I would hear about it. I would hear about it from the NJEA, which I'm a part of, and it's another whole topic that we can talk about, but I would have heard about it from that alone. If there was going to be a rally, the NJEA would have sponsored it, would have been part of it, would have put it out, would have made it happen. Not doing it. Why not? Why not? All right, so the next thing, you want to move on to the reels?
Yep.
We're going to keep a tight ship tonight. We're going to keep a tight ship. Ready? Here's this gentleman. I'm afraid, I apologize if it doesn't pick it up at the very beginning, but this man has a very interesting story to tell.
And debunked. Snopes just added this shit in 2024 that was a lie. He supposedly said in 2017 he dropped out of a presidential race because white supremacists joined his same party.
I'm not going to be running. The party is, as you know, self-destructing.
When you say the party is self-destructing, what do you see as the biggest problem with the Reform Party right now?
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
Then you find that clip with him with Jesse Jackson.
Beyond that, in terms of reaching out and being inclusive, he's done that too. And created for many people a comfort zone when I ran for the presidency in 84 and 88. And many others thought it was either laughable or something to avoid. He came to our business meeting here in New York because he has this sense of the curious and a will to risk to make things better. And so aside from all of his style and his pizzazz, he's a serious person who's an effective builder of people. Last year, he was a part of our workshop, of our panel workshop on what are the challenges and opportunities. And so a year later, Donald Trump, for a few minutes, challenges and opportunities to embrace the underserved communities. Donald Trump.
Well, it is an honor to be here.
You see the clip with him on The View and him and Whoopi Goldberg. She's saying that they're friends.
We don't think I'm going to get Whoopi's vote.
If you did, let me just ask, if you did be,
and she likes me. She even put me in her movies. She put me in her movies, right? A long time ago. And how much did I charge? Nothing.
Like they say in the Godfather. If you did beat Obama, though.
People love this guy. Like Oprah saying that he should run for president.
Do you have a vice presidential candidate in mind?
Well, I really haven't gotten quite there yet.
It's just
Oprah. I love Oprah. Oprah would always be my first choice. Oprah, your competitor, right?
Oprah's a competitor.
You know what? I'll tell you, she's really a great woman, though. She is a terrific woman. She's somebody that's very special.
He would have done better with Oprah. He should have stuck with his instinct.
A number of black entrepreneurs who, back in the late 80s and 90s, early 90s, were trying to get financing. They couldn't. Somebody told them to go check with Donald Trump. So they come back and tell me they got a loan from Donald Trump. He gave them a term loan. Show up with the interest in the principal, one check. But they had to go see him personally. They independently relate this tale that when they saw him, he said, "This what you're supposed to pay me? This our agreement?" Said, "Yeah." And then tore the check up, shook their hands, and congratulations. Now run your business. And this was when? This was back in the 90s.
Waka Flocka talks about how he showed him how to increase his wealth.
Get a C Corp to run an LLC. You're going to make it even deeper. Go get a trust fund to run the corp that runs the LLC. You want to get even deeper. Own two trust funds for your business and your person to run that trust that runs all the business. They can get deep, my God. Absolutely. And Donald Trump actually showed me that method.
People will say that they want truth, but when you try to present them with information that goes against their beliefs of Donald Trump, they act like this.
He's condemned white supremacy over 20 times.
Oh, yes, when? Could you tell me when?
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like to see a video of montage of 20 times that he's done it?
Oh, actually, no. I'm more interested in walking up in.
But how are we going to learn if we don't challenge our ideas? I mean, you just made a statement that is actually inaccurate, and I can show you video evidence of why it is. I mean, would you like to see that?
No, thank you.
He's condemned white supremacy and the KKK over 20 times.
Over 20 times?
Yeah.
Do you have them right here? Can I listen to it?
Absolutely, you can. Let me pull it up for you right now.
All right.
By the way, I'm James. How's your day going, man?
It'd be a lot better if you guys were wearing masks.
We can socially distance.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Wait. You don't want to see the examples? I have 20 examples right here.
He is a white supremacist.
It's just like Yuri said.
Exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, when a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization.
The populace versus the establishment. Whatever they do to the populist candidate, they're doing to you. When you assist the establishment in crushing the populist candidate, they're going to turn around and do it to you next. Whatever rules that they broke to get at him, that you cheered on because you were so anti-him, those rules were broken so that they can get your consent. And now that they've used your hatred to build consent to break the rules, now they can turn that same attack towards you. And you've yayed and amened it into existence. If you previously believed that Trump was racist and then something changed your mind, I'd like to know what was that moment. Thank you for watching again. Like I said, I appreciate your time.
At the beginning, which is also
leave whatever opinions that you want in the comments, and I'll see y'all in the next one.
Just listen to it.
What's his name?
David made a video the other day asking people when was the moment that they came to the conclusion Donald Trump is racist. A lot of people said the Central Park 5. We'll talk about that in another video. For me personally, it was the very fine people on both sides thing.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
I remember seeing that clip and feeling like, wow, maybe he is racist. And I just happened to come across this video on YouTube. It basically said that the clip was edited and that I should go back and watch the entire clip. So I watched the entire thing. It got to that point where he says very fine people on both sides. And I'm like, see, that's exactly, I knew he said that. There's no point in me even continuing to watch this. And then it goes on and it gets to the part where he's like.
And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists because they should be condemned totally.
So he said he wasn't talking about the neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Why would they show me part of the story and make me feel like this? Even in the presidential debate against Joe Biden, he brought up the very fine people thing.
He said, I think they're fine people on both sides. What American president would ever say, Nazis coming out of fields, carrying torches, singing the same anti-Semitic bile, carrying swastikas, were fine people?
Kamala Harris just brought it up on the recent debate.
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. People
are still saying it, even though it's been debunked. Snopes just.
So that's we're back at the we started.
James. Now we could do a whole show on this. First of all, just this show, it shows you that Trump is a sweetheart, like we've always said. He's the last. He doesn't have a racist bone in his body, just like he doesn't have an anti-Semite bone in his body. Also, I'm glad you played that because in that Jesse Jackson at that point had ran for president and was very successful. He didn't win the whole shebang, but he'd earned the spot to be the first vice president. And I remember that. And you know what is? That's when the Democrat Party really went off the hook because that's when they sold out to the Clintons, right? And he was rejected. And he said, I got all these votes. And he said, yeah, but Jesse, get in the back of the bus.
John, I'm going to just tell you, Jesse Jackson had more delegates and more votes than Kamala Harris.
Right, and he would have been a better president than Obama, and he's still on the path to because at least he's an American and he's really black instead of remember Obama isn't black. He is it's this white communist Kansas half that we hate, right? He's the other half is Kenyan, right? And he's not an immigrant from Kenya. That guy left. This guy didn't. So he's a foreign national. He's half white and half communist American and half Kenyan, not an American. Sorry.
But also Jesse Jackson had people like Trump in his orbit. There was people like Trump in his orbit that Jesse Jackson
We're supporting
depended on.
him, right? So how does a guy who is supporting Jesse Jackson as president, right? Who wants Oprah as his vice president? And let's face it. Remember, he would have been better off with Oprah than Mike Pence. He would have totally been better off. How does he go from that and become a quote racist? And that is what we really got to get into: the sheer lying of the mainstream media. Now, we shouldn't be calling them mainstream media. We shouldn't be calling them fake press. What they are is criminally lying press, right? This is corruption. They are the corrupt press. This is the highest level of corruption, and they've been able to get away with it by a couple of reasons. So one of the things they got to do is you got to break up the monopoly of ABC, NBC, and CBS, right? Why do they get to use the airways as a monopoly, right? Well, all monopolies need to be broken up, but they've been able to tell this lie, and I'm glad they went on that. The lie that Donald Trump is because of the Charlottesville. Biden got away with it for 4 freaking years. Not only that, now it's a quote generational lie because he passes it off to freaking Kamala, and Kamala gets to get away with it for the next 4 years? This is complete. And why does nobody in the press ever challenge him for that? Because they're totally corrupt. A couple things. Number one is you got to break up monopoly. But the other two things is because of Sullivan, and this is the Supreme Court, and it needs to be challenged again and again. When they lie about you publicly, you need to be able to go to court and to prove it in front of a jury, right? And you need to be able to sue these corporations for all the millions of dollars that they've been able to steal from Trump. Because of lies like this, right? And that's one thing. So the courts have to, if you bring accountability into the courts, if you bring so that they can be so that their so-called sovereign immunity that they made up is taken away from them, then they will have to be responsible. Then you can bring it to a court. You can have an open court rule, and you can actually bring a defamation case against these liars for that. The other way it needs to be done, and this cannot be stressed enough, is corporations are now out of control. Corporations are out of control because it's nothing but the Board of Election, it's their director, their the CEO and the board of their boards voting each other back big giant golden parishes and big pay raises instead of actually being held accountable by the stock owners. So it used to be that you have a corporation, it's a fictitious person to give you a way so they can't be sued, so people can give capital to the corporations, they can invest it in whatever. But the moment they stray from that, like let's say they're going to be, I'm going to use this money and go into this field, that should be punishable by the corporate stockholders who can go, what do you mean? You were supposed to be investing in oil or we're making Coke. I didn't give you any money to do DEI. That's nonsense. That's fraud. That's squandering the money we gave you for capital. You get protection from that. So you need protection from capital. So you raise capital. So you can't go after the people from your family members and your friends and your neighbors who gave you the capital for the corporation. That's fine. But it should be limited only what the corporation is designed for and specifically crafted for and nothing else. And the other part of that is, and then when you defraud your investors and you go and you take that money because you're going to support the Kamala campaign and politics over what your job is, which is present the news, that should be actionable too. That needs to be the corporate stock bond owners and stuff should be able to say, whoa. You, David Muir, and you, nitwit, whatever your name is, Lizzie Davis, you were tasked with the job of being a moderator for that. You've risked the entire corporation. You've risked the corporation entity because you were nothing but a political hack for the Democrats. Time for you to go. Right? Either shit can those two fools for what they did by being partisan hacks going against going and most important debate of the 4-year cycle of being a complete partisan hack, selling out, giving you the answers to the Kamala campaign and all the rest of it. The reason why they get away with all that stuff, the reason why they get away with all the lies is because you can't go to a court and you can't say to them, hey, they are squandering the CBS, the NBC, the ABC the corporate protection by risking it like that. So that's part of the reforms that they need to do, because they've been able to get away with this lie again and again, and they've turned 180 degrees. You know, somebody who was famous as Oprah, who had a reputation as great as Oprah's, they've been able to lie to the American people and get away with it again and again and again. This race shouldn't even be close, but it is close because of the point that you make again and again and again.
$1 billion a day.
$1 billion
a day. Yeah.
Your contribution in kind that they should be on the hook for again. That's the third way. That's an election that's an election contribution that they are making and getting away with, and nobody's declaring it on their taxes. If that's enough to send Donald Trump to jail, how come each and every one of these creeps isn't in jail right now?
I think honestly, also, let's talk about transparency in the media. Well, there's no doubt who we're voting for. There's no doubt who we support. How come there's no check on the media that says at the bottom?
Now that's called a lie. It's a lie for material gain.
A Harris supporter. It should say I'm a Harris supporter. It should say this is the this is who I've donated. There should be a complete disclosure on that. But
now, if you're Sean Hannity or you're us interviewing somebody, you know who you are, right? We tell exactly who we are, right? These fraudsters. Now, what's a fraud? A fraud is a lie. In the criminal, what's a fraud?
Sean Hannity doesn't run around and say he's a reporter. Sean Hannity doesn't say he's a reporter, right? He says he's a commentator, right?
Right,
These
but it's
people
not
say
that.
they're reporters.
No. That's not the lie. The lie is that they say they're objective, and they're not. Right. The lie is that they say that they're fair players, and they're not. That they have no bias. That's the lie they tell for material gain of money. And abusing our airways and abusing our system where they get a monopoly. That's what they need to be. That's what they need to be sued in civil court for. That's what they need to have sued for, and their monopolies taken away from them. And that's the way we need to get the airways back for real companies to produce real news, where they're held accountable for it. Where if they're lying to somebody, or if they say a lie out public, somebody can and just say, "Well, you're defaming me." Take them to court. They say, "Well, that was a lie," and the corporate bondholders can go, "That's a lie. How dare you?" Take at risk our corporation that we gave you this money for. That's why the system is broken right now and needs to be. So the big corporations, the big money corporations that have a monopoly need to be broken up, just like Ma Bell was, so that we have cell phones and things like that.
Go ahead, finish what you're saying. It's okay.
Every monopoly ends the same way in this complete corruption, and that's why we didn't even get to the rest of the real shit. but
here I'll put this up. This one's interesting.
Differently to cishet people. It's a concept called queer temporality, and it basically has to do with the fact that historically, as queer and trans people, our lives have started much later and ended earlier than our cishet counterparts. It also has to do with the fact that those milestones that we've been socialized to use to mark the passage of time,
The significance of the passage of time,
haven't been accessible to us.
Oh my goodness, girl, totally agree. This is just another example of transgender people saying that they are God.
I am God!
They think that they're God because they can create a new reality through their declaration. A man can declare that he's a woman, and it is so, when really it's only God who can declare something into being. Also, that they exist outside of time like God. Only God stands outside of linear time. This is what happens when we exchange the God of Scripture for the God of self.
Did you know that queer and
So
she nailed that exactly right. She nailed that exactly right. That's the God of self. That's the God of the Democrat Party, power. And I call it, they're the God of asshole. They're the God of them assholes, of their assholes. That's what it is. And it's both figuratively and metaphorically, because they become their own standard, their own God. They can change all reality. We called it way back when, in the first one, the dopey utopians, right? The idea that they live in their own cities. Somebody cooks for them, somebody drives for them, somebody thinks for them, somebody pushes the button in the elevator for them. They are just they take that and say, oh, look, we're masters of reality. No, you're not. You can't do any of that stuff. You can't do your plumbing. You can't do your car. You can't fix your car. You can't be you can't think for yourself. You can't do any of the normal things that all the rest of us do. But you're in your dopey utopian, and so you think that you're the masters of reality, and you're not. You're just masters of your own asshole. You're a bunch of assholes because of it. So she's got it exactly right. The God of assholes. And the guy down there is laughing about it because he knows that you're really one of his then. It's a shame. But she nailed it exactly right.
So here's the next one. This one I think we've mostly all seen, but
yes, I hear that. I hear that.
Probably should not have said that.
we'll start over in a second.
But my staff will deal with that later.
Yeah.
I'm a gun owner. Tim Walz is a gun.
I did not know that.
If somebody breaks in my house, they get shot.
Yes, I hear that.
John, you know what law that's called? You know what law that's called that she's talking about? If somebody walks into your house, it's shot, which by the way is against in California where she allegedly lives. She's supposed
the castle doctrine.
Yeah, she's supposed to take off.
She's supposed to retreat.
She's supposed to retreat in California. The what is it? The stand. I can't believe.
Stand your ground or castle doctrine. She
called stand your ground laws racist, and she said that they should be outlawed, and this idea is another case of what is good for me is not good for thee. Laws for you are laws for you, but not for me. Another aristo creep. We're looking at an aristo creep here, as we say, right? And John, Lula would be locked up. She'd be locked up for shooting that person if they came into her house. And
she would lock herself up. She was the district attorney for the city, and he's a state attorney. She would have to lock herself up.
Right, but no, she would be able to get away with it, brother, because she was protecting herself.
Right. No. It's because she's a Brahim. She's the aristocrat, the aristocreep of California. So it's okay for her to shoot people. She could shoot the homeless. She could do anything because there's one law, like you said. What is it? But there's that famous from the unit. The greatest shows ever. It's not that there's two laws. It's that there's only one law. It just doesn't apply to certain people, right? And that's the truth, right? It doesn't apply to her. It doesn't apply to her. The aristocrat class, it doesn't apply to. But she's a gunner. But James, this is more of the complete. That's why I know
I want to see your field strip it and clean it.
Right.
I want to see your field
gun
strip
owner.
it.
What gun does she have?
It is. Let's see what it is. Pull it out, field strip it, and clean it right here. That's
right.
You know what, John? John, I did that. I don't know if you know this, but I did that when I was running for office. Brother Chris came over, and him and I. We field stripped a 9mm. We field stripped a 45, just so that you can
prove that you were a gun owner.
Yeah, I can prove it. Pop the pin, take it out. Slide it off. You're all good.
You're ballistic patriot number 4.
Right. Brother Chris came over. Ballistic Patriot 2 came over, and we we did a whole day of it. We had fun, and we set up the camera, we set up the table, we set it all up. It's out there somewhere on the internet of me field stripping, or not. So I guess it's not field stripping. It's not field stripping if it's in your living room.
Well, it's living room field stripping.
Living room field stripping, yes.
But you're calling Kamala out. You don't think she's?
No.
You don't think she's a gun owner?
John, she's a gun owner. I mean, she's a gun owner. That's.
You don't believe she's ever handled guns?
I'll put it this way. I believe that she would handle a gun more than her husband.
James, I don't think that's the gun she's talking about. Let's put
you got my joke. You got my joke.
Right.
You saw through my joke. Yeah.
Right.
He definitely handled more guns than he had. That's for sure.
I don't know about that, James. I disagree on that. I don't think either one of them have been handling the guns that we're talking about. But
okay.
But real guns.
All right. So the last reel that I have, because I did have a video I wanted to show, but the last reel I have is another Oprah clip, which I think we all can connect to.
Living. Yeah. First of all, thank you both for being here. And yours is a story I hear around the country as I travel. And in terms of both rightly having the right to have aspirations and dreams and ambitions for your family and working hard and finding that the American dream is, for this generation and so many recently, far more elusive than it's been. And we would love to know what your plan is to help lower the cost of living. Yeah.
Look at that face. Look at that face. I have no idea how I'm going to answer that. That's what that face is. Please, somebody save me. Oprah, can you throw a lifeline?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and like say, can I poll the audience?
Poll the audience. No, you used that one already. Telephone a friend. No, you used that one already.
I'm a middle class. I'm from a middle
class.
Oh,
James,
family.
you got it right. You should do a whole show on that. You can do that instead of the wheel, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We should do a wheel with a bunch of I'm from the middle class family.
Oh, you should do the wheel. That's what you should do. All her standard answers, right? Her standard non-answers. You should do a wheel with the standard non-answers. Maybe next time.
We'll do that. We'll do that for next week. But I want to point something out about what she said. Let's talk about her response. She said she's heard this problem about how how middle class families are supposed to survive everywhere she goes around the country, right? Now, this is what my take is on it, John. Just from a campaign standpoint, right? If you're talking to middle-class families, you got a camera on you. You got people following you. You're recording that. It's making it into the news. It's being televised. It's being put on YouTube. I want to point out, when I don't have the video for it, but those of you who follow President Trump as he went to that supermarket in Delaware, I think it was in Delaware, or maybe it was PA. It was PA. And he would walk around. He walked around the entire store with the owner. He was talking to people. He had conversations, shaking hands, getting pictures with people. And he was talking to them about their struggles and about how they were struggling with it. This is Trump. This is Trump. He's doing it. He's doing
Trump
what
loves
she's
people, and
doing.
people love him because he just loves people.
And my point is, you have to love people in order to be able to connect with them and ask them those questions and be willing to be in their space and talk to them. There's no way this woman went out and did that, because if she had, that would be all over the news. Who the hell is she talking to other than yelling at people in a crowd for defending the Palestinians? That's the only people she's talking to. She's yelling at them, big crowds, and the soft landing interviews that she's been getting. That's all, John. This is why this is such an important election. She is a charlatan, a liar, and in every single way, she's the least authentic candidate that we've ever had, making Barack Obama seem like a legitimate candidate.
American.
It seems like a legitimate American.
American, right.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much about her that's not authentic that it should make you cringe. And if you can't, and this is my pronunciation, if you cannot see through this and accept that this is a person that you can't vote for because you hate Donald Trump so much, then you are part of the problem. You are part of the problem if you hate Trump so much that you would allow a vacuous, immaterial person who has no authenticity,
raised in Canada,
raised in Canada,
not black,
who has all these things. She seems so non-genuine. If
communist.
you'd rather vote for her, for someone who's destroyed the economy for 3.5 years, been in the room for every single major decision, saw our troops die overseas and doesn't even talk about it or care about it, doesn't even mention it, has 51,000 troops that are in collecting hazard pay now, but doesn't want to admit that they're in danger zone because it might make her look bad.
How dangerous is that?
If that's the kind of person that you want, instead of a guy that you tweets mean things that you don't like and you have a personal dislike of him, then you are part of the problem, because the founders wanted us to make decisions, and every single generation after that has died fought for this country, has wanted us to make decisions based on what is best for the country, not as what best for you and your party. And you're not making those decisions in a good way. You're making it just for your own selfish reasons. What's best for the country? This woman is not good for the country. Bottom line, Walz is just as bad. He's got Chinese connections, our enemy, that's trying to destroy us. He's got tight connections with our enemy, and we should all be concerned
Been there 31
about that.
times.
Yeah.
Why was he there for 31 times?
I have not been
in
to
the capital
any
of child
31
pornography and child slavery. Why is he over there for 31 times?
I have not been to any country, any state, Pennsylvania, 31 times. Other than Pennsylvania, 31 times. That's only because he lives there.
Right.
And so does half my family. So unless he's got family over there, there's no reason for him to have been to China 31 times. Period. End of sentence.
Pro tip: if you voted for Kamala and Harris the first time, and now that 25%, now that everything you have, gas is 50% more, mortgages are twice as much more, rent is twice as much more in some cases. People were paying $1,000 of rent are now paying $2,000 of rent because all the illegal immigrants that are sucking up these spaces because the federal government's paying them full rate. Right now, everybody's rent's up. You go to the dollar store, everything's $1.25 now. All the jobs, the only jobs that he created are for illegal aliens. Pro tip: maybe you shouldn't vote. Take a step back. Take a day off that day. Don't vote that day.
Stay home. Go to work that day. Go to work. Work a double shift.
Do some meditation on what's going wrong in your life, that you can't see reality, that you're destroying, that you're so self-destructive, so suicidal and homicidal that you want to destroy this country, destroy your fellow Americans, destroy the greatest country God's ever created, America, and instead just take the day off. Just sit back and relax. Don't vote. Please. Don't vote. Please. Pro tip: you screwed up last time. Don't make it a double screw up.
So
but
I do have my video, but do you want to do white dudes and the manual?
Right.
You want to do the manual first? Let's do the manual.
All right.
Can we do the manual first?
Yes, let's do the manual.
All right.
This is
my brother
Tampon Tim. Good. You guys
talking about his international.
This thing, old school carburetor. You can always tell something about somebody's mate.
We're gonna pause it here because we want to take a look at the guy who's trying to claim that he's a grease monkey and he's a man's man and he's somebody who works on cars like every other blue collar guy out there. Let's critique his outfit, brother. Shall we? Shall we critique his style and his outfit?
Right.
First off, his hands. They're perfectly clean. They're absolutely the cleanest hands I've ever seen. I have never seen hands that clean before.
And pedicured, I'm sure. The nails are pedicured.
And they're, you know what? I will tell you, the old man's hands were always cracked. You remember that? How his hands were cracked.
Why?
Because he's always cleaning them with all the cleaners.
Yeah.
Gojo,
and
he had all that.
And the pumice and the knuckles.
And his years also of working in the army when he was had his own gun and he was.
And you got to clean your hands after shooting things.
Yep. And all those years that you don't see on those hands. Those are nice dainty hands. And but the big tell. And to be clear, I do not consider myself a grease monkey. And I do not rate myself that way. My brother and I were talking about this beforehand. He considers me a grease monkey. I've retired. I mean, the last major job I worked on was my AMC Hornet that I had back in the 90s. That was, it was in terrible shape, but I remember we changed the water pump and I ended up breaking the timing case cover on it and ended up having to go with my brother Chris down to Washington to get a new timing case cover and to put that on, which John actually helped me do. But this is back in the 90s. And so after that, I got religion and I said, I'm never working on a car ever again. But I did do my time.
You took the work from the Chevelle. What about your 70 Chevelle? Your SS. You love that car.
I love the SS.
Remember the
I did
SS?
the SS. I didn't do heavy duty work like the timing case cover on the AMC Hornet, John. I did do we did do the heating core. We did take care of the. I remember sitting upside down in the passenger seat trying to figure that crap out. That was a nightmare and a half. And I think we also did the radiator on it. But I will gladly say I'm more of a grease monkey than this clown. But the complete tell though, John, the complete tell, first off, is the hat. Anybody who's ever worn one of those hats and worked on cars, they have a distinctive feature that's all over the hat, brother. What do you got for me? Okay, let me
Exhibit A.
Let me take
Exhibit A.
Screen. There we go. Everyone, please take a closer look at the grease stains and abused hats. Look at the grease stains and abused hats from the oil dripping on it, from your hands ripping, taking it off, and also the ripping stains.
Throwing it in the washer so it gets washed when it becomes too greasy. And Exhibit B, right? My Eagles hat was also all covered in grease. Actually, I have to wash both of these again because they're a little bit really dirty.
Well,
they're really dirty.
You know what, brother?
They're really sweaty on the inside.
Yeah, the grease stains. When you put it, the thing about that is, when you put it into the wash machine, you really don't expect the grease stains to come out. All you're doing is solidifying them so you don't get your hands any more greasy. That's the only reason why you do it. And any man who works on cars know that's the truth, because there's no point in trying to clean your hands when you got to change something, even if it's just the oil, because you're gonna get your hands covered in oil when the filter comes out. You know what's going to happen. You get half of it on you too if you're not careful. If you don't know what you're doing, and this guy doesn't know what he's doing, so he's never. I'm convinced. And John, this is called the manual with Tim Walz, because he talks about having to go through the manual. Do you want to show him your manual, John?
Exhibit number C and exhibit. So this is one car for five years, I think, that I've had to fix because it's my daughter's. This is exhibit number C. Well, he didn't get his line in the manual, though. You got to look at the manual, right? Good. You want to play the rest of it? Exhibit C and exhibit D. Look how much stuff is in these manuals that you have to add because it's not in the manuals, because it's deliberately kept from being in the manual so that you have to go to the mechanics. Well, look at all these things you have to add.
Here you go, brother.
Air filter is. Look, to be able to work on this thing, you got a manual. It shows you exactly what to do to fix things on this.
No, it doesn't.
Have a manual too. It's called Project 2025.
It does give you step-to-step instructions, but they're not always the correct step-to-step. And
they're definitely not the short version too, because that's what makes a mechanic. A mechanic is a mechanic. The children manual will say you can do it in such an hour, right? And a good mechanic knows how to do it in half that time because he knows the shortcuts. So not only is it not the shortcuts, but the thing about it is most of the important stuff is not in the manual. They don't tell you. Yeah. I mean, even the really important stuff.
We're going to take Tim Walz's man card because he's definitely, Tampon
Tim. Card is cool.
Tampon Tim is definitely lacking in the man department. Maybe he plays with guns, John.
Not real ones either.
Not real ones either. No, maybe he does. I don't know.
Right.
We do know his wife likes to smell the burning cities of Minnesota. We do know that that's the truth. And so, John, since we're talking about, I'm sorry, the image of I'm about to show you just showed up on my screen, and I couldn't help but laugh at the guy that you're going to see. Here he is. That guy, I want to laugh. Just looking at him. So this is White Dudes for Harris, brother. Somehow they got $10 million to buy ads in key states. Somehow. You know what? I'm going to do a little investigative journalism, John. I'm going to look them up to see where their money came from. I'm going to look it up and see who donated.
I'm sure 10 million white dudes gave them each $1. I'm sure that's how it's happened. Because there's that many of them. There's that many of us out there.
Yeah. All right. So here it is.
Some of it has to do with the polling. Yeah, for far too long, the left has essentially ceded white men to the MAGA right. And a thing that we know is that most men, especially most white men, aren't actually MAGA supporters. And so we decided that we wanted to create space for white men to be a part of electing Vice President Harris.
So, there have been many of these Zooms where it's like cat ladies for Harris and different groups. That's how people have been getting together. But now you're spending $10 million on ads. How'd you do it?
Kamala gave it to me.
We launched the ad last week. We are hoping to get them up on the air in the next couple weeks. And to be honest, just good old-fashioned organizing. We're out there making sure that we have conversations with white men across the battleground states, making sure that they understand that Vice President Harris and Governor Walz are really the only choice for them, especially when it comes to their pocketbook issues, when it comes to supporting your family, when it comes to your health care, when it comes to your freedoms. There's really only one choice in this election.
What are you hearing, as these phone calls are being made? What are you hearing from people? And are you hearing pushback? Are you hearing people say, well, I'm not sure, we're dealing with, she was in the administration and we have these high prices and she's been there for 3.
There you go, brother. There you go. That's
There you
enough.
go. So you think his man card should be pulled too? It's been pulled. It was pulled a long time ago.
You can't get a man card. You can't get it. You can't get
that poor guy's man card was pulled a long time ago, and we should have sympathy for him. Go ahead.
I was gonna say you got to have a man card first in order for it to get pulled.
Well, that's not right. The poor guy, he needs help, and it's not his fault. He's been beaten down by these creep female teachers that don't let boys be boys. They dope them up with freaking psychotropics. These harridan virtuous women who won't let men be men. And all the feminists, the creep feminists like Gloria, the hags like Gloria Steinem. And Maria Navratilova, whatever her name is, and all these hags out there, these feminists that have been these man-hating. What do we should call them? They call them male chauvinist pigs. We call them female chauvinist pigs that are won't let men be men. So it's not his fault. I don't blame him.
It may not be his fault, John, but he's the face of this white dudes, and I got to tell you, it's really the white dudes. It's amazing. What's amazing about this white dudes for Harris thing, that's supposed to be, as he pointed out, filled with all these white dudes that are not MAGA supporters. It turns out that all the videos they seem to have are all white dudes from Hollywood. People like Gordon, the guy from who's supposed to be
Frodo,
from Batman. No, yeah, Frodo, not Frodo's Samwise. Sam is in it. What's that guy's name? The guy
dude.
From the Big Lebowski guy. What's his name?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
The dude.
And so then there's a bunch of them. They're all actors. They're all dudes. The white dudes from Hollywood. They should be the white dudes from Hollywood. That's what they're from. They're not the white dudes of America. The white dudes, you're looking at two of the white dudes that don't support Harris. I mean, if we did a white dudes for Trump, brother, which we should probably do. If we did a white dudes from Trump, it'd be all of them just about, except for the rich elite scum corporate idiots and the ones who work for the news. That'd be it. We'd be everybody. But but white dudes really aren't the problem for Harris. You know that, right, brother? The polls are all
we going to get into the election? Are we going to get into the election now?
We can do that. Yeah, let's talk about predictions.
Do you have any more videos?
I got the immigrant video. Do you want to watch the immigrant video?
Well, do you want to end it with that, or you want to?
Let's talk about the predictions, and then we'll do the.
All right. So I'll give you the rundown on the betting polls. It's now supposed to be an even race. But of course we have for our betting for the predictions. You want to go first? Or you want me to do it?
No, you go ahead. You go first.
All right, so we have the Southwest, which is Arizona and Nevada, right? And then we have the blue wall, which is the blue dot of Nebraska too, which is always blue, which had a chance for Charlie Kirk to turn it around, and he almost did it. But as the Rhino Republican told him, that's not my problem if Kamala is the president, right? That idiot. So there's that disgrace. Nebraska too is the dot, but it's called that's the wall. There's the blue wall of Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Pennsylvania, and the blue dot, right? If Kamala loses any one of those 4 states, it's over for her, right? And then there's the South, there's the Sun Belt Southeast, which is North Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia now. Interestingly enough, it's actually in play. So what's the betting? Well, if we go starting with the Southwest, because that's the clearest, it looks like Trump is going to win Nevada. Partly because of the, he wants to not pay. It was his idea not for waitresses not to pay taxes, and that's huge because of Las Vegas. And so he's actually moved a few points over in Las Vegas, but also partly because Nevada's been trending more Republican over the last elections. So it looks like he's going to pick up the 6 votes, and that's important. Remember that 6 votes in Nevada. Arizona is as sure a bet now for Trump as any state that there is. Probably he's going to pick that up, and Arizona has 11. Remember those 2 together, because Nevada and Arizona together are 17 votes. Remember that. And he won Arizona by 4 points. He only lost Arizona because of the steal, and he lost it only by a bare 10,000 votes or something like that in 2020. Now he's up, and he's probably going to win it by 4 points. So it looks like, partly because again, it's back to being more Republican, and also they've cut into a little bit of the steal, not a lot, but a little bit of the steal. So it looks like he's going to pick up Arizona and Nevada. The other really big reason why he's going to pick him up, you have to remember, is Hispanics are abandoning the Democratic Party in droves. Why? Well, because the illegal aliens coming up, whether they're Hispanic or not, or African, or wherever they're coming from, are taking the jobs from the Hispanics and the blacks. And so they are abandoning, and the Hispanics, they're here legally, as we all know, because we have there's Hispanics that we love that came here legally. Spent thousands of dollars, still have family members they can't get over here because they want to follow the law and become citizens, and they are pissed that the illegals are allowed to come in here, take their jobs, undercut them for salary, and allowed to come in without having to go through all the hoops that they put in their way for immigration. So Hispanics are abandoning the Democratic Party in droves, and you're seeing that in the Sun Belt West, Nevada and Arizona. So now in the Sun Belt East, if Trump wins Georgia, Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, it's over, right? Now, there's some trouble in Georgia and North Carolina because, of course, he allegedly there is, because in North Carolina you have Mark Robinson. It was a strong Trump won because Trump won it in both. It's the one of the swing states that he's won in both elections. So, but it was even and a little bit ahead. But then, and I think it's a smear job on the Republican candidate running for the North Carolina governorship, Mark Robinson, and that he was allegedly on porn sites. So what? 10 years ago or something like that. So it's a smear shot for him. And it's a lot of racism. It's literally they're playing the race card in North Carolina, which they're allowed to get away with because the fake media, the corrupt media won't point it out. Wait a minute. This is a black candidate. How come you're demeaning him and going after him for sexually? That sounds like a Clarence Thomas a high-tech lynching, which is exactly what it is, right? So, but he is still Trump is still even in North Carolina, and he won North Carolina by 4 points in 2016 and 1 point in 2020. So it's still odds are in favorite for him to win North Carolina. Georgia, though, he's going to win Georgia by 5 points. And there's the betting odds on him winning Georgia is 61-39 at this point. And the reason why is because the steal is over, right? You don't have you don't have Scranton Joe there, right? And so that's the middle class, working class, white class, that would make up the army and a lot of the army vote and stuff like that. A lot of the middle class vote and the steel. The steel. They don't have the full steel on like they did in Georgia. People are going to be scrutinizing things a lot better. They're cleaning up the rolls, not to the full degree that they have to, but to a little bit. They only won the state by a couple thousand votes anyway, so they're going to need to win Georgia again. She needs the middle class Scranton Joe, and what she doesn't have, and she needs the steel. Right. And she just doesn't have it at that time. That's why Georgia is tending 61 to 39. He's probably going to win it by 5 points. So if he wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia, it doesn't matter about all the rest of the swing states. Right. It's all over. Now, for the northern tier, for the northern blue wall, the alleged blue wall is Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. So Minnesota, because Walz is the governor of there, she's going to win Minnesota, but she was going to probably win that anyway. It went both times to that, so it was a dumb move for her to put Walz in there. But her pick of Walz was more to bring a Joe Biden type because he looks dumb, he talks dumb, he looks like he's stupid, and in their version of the middle class, right? Remember, it's not the actual real version of the middle class, the people who do all the working, fixing cars, keeping keeping the power lines on, can run a chainsaw, things like that. It's not the real middle class and working class. It's their aristocrat Brahim version of the middle class. Oh, look, if you talk like you're dumb and you're from the South, and you talk like you're dumb and you're from Scranton, then you're in the middle class, right? And that lie, Joe Biden holding up his rosary, he didn't go to Harvard, he's Scranton Joe, I take the train, lunchbox Joe, that lie of course, is the heart of the Democratic Party. Well, it was the heart of the Democratic Party, right? From the 60s. And so really Walz is the fake Joe Biden, right? The lesser Joe Biden. And so that's why she picked him for Minnesota, but he was going to win Minnesota anyway. Wisconsin and Michigan are the next ones. He's even in Michigan, and I disagree with them. They say that they're going to win Wisconsin, but you got to remember with Wisconsin, I think he's definitely going to win Wisconsin because he was 8 points down in Wisconsin, and Trump famously lost by 10,000. So, and how did he lose? Because they had the steal on again in Wisconsin. Now, the steal for the selection of 2016 was in Wisconsin. This is the one where they went to the lockdown memory wards, and they had 95% participation of people that are in memory wards locked down, so the people with dementia don't walk away, and so that they had 95% representation of voting. So this is obviously fraud. Obviously, the steal was on, and they only won the state by a couple thousand again with the steal. Well, that's going to be the only way they got away with that was that you had the lockdowns and pandemics, so you could get away with that stuff. You're not going to have that now. So and then Trump was supposed to lose that by 8 points. So if he's even there, that's a win. That's a win for Wisconsin. And remember, if he wins one of those 4 states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, or Pennsylvania, it's all over for Kamala. So, and in a lot of ways, Kamala is playing defense, and she has to win in all of the swing states. And one of them, to win again, and that's why her path to the White House is so actually flawed and is most likely to fail than Trump's, because she has to win in all these states. Whereas if he wins Wisconsin, boom, it's all over for her. And then, of course, Michigan. Now, remember about the polling. Any polling that shows that you see where it's plus D of more than 2% is a bullshit poll. Okay, that's complete bullshit. And so what they're doing for all these polls is this. They have a poll where, I swear to God, where it was plus 25 in Democrats. So they polled 25 more Democrats per every Republican, plus 5 per representation. So typically and traditionally, up till right now, to this moment in life, there have always been more Democrats registered than Republicans. Only today, because of Donald Trump, you see this the party change is that it's not the case. Through all out the history, it's always been more D's than R's. Now, if you see any poll that's more than +2 Dem, it's a bullshit poll. And what you see is you see all these fake national polls is you see +5, +8, +10, +25. And what it is the pollster, the fake pollster, because again, they're not run. We don't have a corporation where you can actually, we don't have a justice system and a economic system where somebody's has a corporation and it's a fake corporation and the corporate board and the corporate president are doing fake things like operating in a fraudulent manner like these guys, where what they're doing is they are starting at 50-50, then going, okay, well, there's 2% more Democrats, so that's okay. So we're starting there, right? And go, oh, look, that doesn't give us the results we want. So we need to get more Democrats. So they stop getting any Republicans, calling any Republicans, and then they go 3% Democrats and go, oh no, she's still underwater by 10 votes, by 10%. So they go, then they go to 4%, then to 5% more Democrats, right? Then +6 Democrats, then +10. They have to go up to +25 before they get Kamala winning. That's a fake poll. Right. That's fraud, right? And so those polls should be completely discounted, but they're yet put forward as part of the astroturfing, meaning the aristocrats from up above telling us to try and demoralize the Trump vote and to demoralize the American vote, the middle class voting, right? They do that. Now, how is that happening? So that's saying that she's going to win Michigan, but if it's more than +2, don't believe it. Now, Pennsylvania. It's all going to come down to Pennsylvania. All right. Why in Pennsylvania? Now, remember, in the selection of 2016, Trump won by 0.72. That was with the dirtbag, piece of shit, Toomey, bad-mouthing Trump on the eastern end of the state. I know because I was doing the polls then, right? And suppressing the vote on the eastern end of Pennsylvania, right? He won by 0.72, and then he lost in 2020 by about the same margin. Now, a couple things were in play. You had the pandemic, the international recession, right? You had the steel law in Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania, it was the drop boxes. And Philadelphia allowed to steal and you're not allowed to do anything about it. And dirtbag Josh Shapiro wasn't doing anything about it. And the dirtbag Supreme Court of Pennsylvania allowed 10 days of voting, allowed 3 days of voting, 10 days of voting, was allowing every violation of the Constitution of Pennsylvania and the state legislature of Pennsylvania. The steal was on. And the most important part, you had Scranton Joe. Lunch, Mr. I take the Amtrak, I take the train like everybody else. Lunchbox. Look, I go to Washington with my lunchbox, and I'm back by the day after I molested and raped Tara Reid, right? I'm from Scranton, PA, right? And all the rest of it. You don't have that now. And so you don't see the Hispanics as much in Pennsylvania like you do in the Sun Belt. Banning it because they're only basically illegals in the country in Pennsylvania, on the farms or in the mushroom farms in Chester County. You're going to see a lot of the virtueless commie mommies in the voting for that, but you're going to see being banned by the blacks and the actual white middle class, the Rust Belt white, the union guys of Pennsylvania, the farmers, the truckers, the middle class, us, the Americans, abandoning the Democrat Party. Because the shocking truth is Donald Trump has stolen the Democrat Party from the Democrats. He's stolen it right out from underneath their nose because he's for tariffs, for building up the American middle class, for American industry, 60,000 factories and mills coming back to America, right? To because that's his consistency when he was doing Trump Towers, when he was doing the casinos. He loves the middle class because he's of the middle class. He's just one of us who's done the best. It's always been his focus, his laser focus, and not sending us off to war to die in the aristocrats' wars, so that they can walk around and pretend they're tough and not change the world at all, right? So he's always been for that. He's stolen the Democrat Party from the Democrats. So if he's even right now, he's even in the polls of Pennsylvania without the steal on, without the pandemic, without the international recession, without Lunchbox Joe. Kamala is below 4%, and he might win Pennsylvania by a good 2%. And if he does, it's all over. If he wins Pennsylvania, it's all over for the Democrats. And that's my prediction. My prediction is it's going to be a wipeout election for Trump. If all that aside, for the fact that you go to the gas pump and it's twice as much. In fact, you go to the parts store, it's twice as much. In fact, if you go for your food and it's half again as much. It's all over for the Democrats. 38 days out, I'm predicting wipeout for Donald Trump. Go ahead, your predictions, brother. Why turn off the heater?
Depending on the erection integrity, John, you got to worry about erection integrity, right? Oh, he didn't hear me. I'll wait till he comes back. So, John, you got to worry about erection integrity, right? We got to make sure the erection is done well, right? We can't say that word, so we got to say erection instead. And as you can see, I have
it's an erection with integrity.
Yes. So I put up most of what you said. I didn't put in the three Rust Belt states, which are Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, because they're really in toss-ups. But I do hope if of the three most likely, I think Pennsylvania is most likely to go for Trump as long as erection integrity is maintained. As long as erection integrity is maintained, we'll be fine. I do think that Michigan's probably a lost cause, despite what we saw in the video today. It's just too corrupt. It's just too far gone. And Wisconsin is really a legitimate toss-up in my mind. But I wanted to make my predictions. So there's my predictions right now. I do want to predict what the October surprise is going to be.
Wait a minute. Before we go on, I like that prediction because the reason why I was pointing out the numbers for Nevada and Arizona is they're pretty solid right now, right? He can lose. So if he'd won Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, it's all over no matter what she does, right? But if he loses North Carolina, then he's in trouble. But if he replaces North Carolina with Arizona and Nevada, which are 17 votes versus North Carolina, which is 16, right? I'm pretty sure it's 16. Then it doesn't matter. He can lose North Carolina, right? He can totally lose North Carolina. So if he wins Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia and Pennsylvania, it's over. Basically, it comes down to Pennsylvania and Georgia and North Carolina now because the other ones are moving out of her ability to affect. Arizona she's gone. Nevada, she's almost gone. And Georgia, she's almost gone. She's gone with. It's only really Pennsylvania, North Carolina now because of the smear campaign, the high-tech lynching on Robinson. That she can really win. But I'm not holding that. Wisconsin, I know you got it. It's a toss-up. But I'm thinking it's just like Iowa now. There are places like Iowa used to be a bellwether, but the farmers and the people of Iowa are going, this shit is crazy, man. I'm not down for this. I'm not down for this.
And I would say, let's not forget what happened in Wisconsin at what was his name? The kid, Kyle.
Kyle Rittenhouse. Call of Duty. Your Call of Duty winner of the
year 2020.
2000. Right.
Yeah, he was. Which city was he in?
Wisconsin.
It was Wisconsin. Now, why did that happen? That happened because of what was going on in Minnesota. And I got to wonder if the people in Wisconsin, are fed up with seeing the bleed over from Minnesota.
Right.
And
If
who
it's
do you
too
blame
close to
for
call,
Minnesota?
if it's
Who do
too
you
close
blame
to
for
call now,
Minnesota? You blame Walls.
in 2016, it was 8 points. Biden had 8 points on Trump. 8 points. If it's close now, it's over. It's over. I think they, even though they say it's a toss up, I'm going. This is going to be a blowout. I'm hoping it's going to be a blowout. It should be a blowout.
I think he's going to win this North Carolina. I think he's got North Carolina. I know that there's stuff going on, but North Carolina. Remember, Joe was able to do well there because of the population, the black population, right? And the problem that Kamala is having now is she's losing the black men, of the young black men, and that is where it's going to take a hit. She could lose with North Carolina just because of her unfavorability ratings among young black men. I try to watch these guys who do the man on the street interviews, and they're very clear when they get that. A lot of black guys are just like Trump. Trump's the guy. I don't want her.
Yeah, they don't want to be hectored. They don't want to be belittled. They don't want to be called names. They don't want to have a character assassination by another
Don't you want a black
fake
woman? Don't you want a black woman to be president? And they're like, yeah, it'd be nice, but our economy's in trouble.
Yeah,
we
I need a job.
Trump. The one guy said when Trump was in charge, I was living better. I was doing well.
Of course he was.
I'm not doing so well now. I'm not doing so well with her in charge. It's the hard reality. It's like when you walk into the voting booth, you're not on public display. When you're voting, and it's supposed to be a secret ballot. So no one knows how you're going to vote. So having said that,
Trump should play that video you just showed, right? Where that guy, that should be his campaign ad. And he should take that ad and he should go to he should do town halls, which he's doing more of now, which is because he's listening to the show. He's done. I just listened to another one of his great ones with Marsha Blackburn, the senator up in Michigan. He should do those town halls with North Philadelphia, with West Philadelphia, with Upper Darby and Pennsylvania, with the black population in those, because he loves it. He loves people. He just loves people. He's just like a warm, fuzzy guy. It's all a myth that he's this mean, cruel dictator type. It's all bullshit. But he should be, and he's an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur, and so he should be taking this message to them, and he could break what's left of the Democrat Party. He's already stolen the middle, the white working class. He's already stolen a good chunk of the Hispanics. He needs to go after, and he's stealing a lot of the black. He needs to break the Democrat Party because they are so wedded to this evil philosophy of Marxism.
Let me make my prediction, brother.
All right, go ahead.
Let me make my prediction. Here's my prediction. I do want to say their October surprise is going to be they're going to try to link Trump to P. Diddy. They're going to try to link Trump to P. Diddy because that's what they would do. Just like they tried to do with Russian collusion. It's going to be the same thing.
But James, he's not even ever been in a picture.
Doesn't matter, John. Doesn't matter. He never went to Russia either. And he never got peed on either. But that didn't stop them from having the Russian collusion hoax.
For 3 years and lie after lie after lie. Right, yeah.
They're probably going to also have another assassination attempt. That's in the books.
They're going to keep trying to kill him. They're going to keep trying to kill him.
What it is, I don't know. I have no inside knowledge. I just suspect it because the 20-year-old proved that they could get close enough to do it, that he could defeat the most powerful police force in the world that has the most sophisticated defenses for one man, the Secret Service. He beat the one lone guy, beat him, and then a second lone guy beat him a second time. So, he could have gotten that shot off, except for he was a terrible sniper. He didn't have sniper school. Point being,
he had enough.
There's going to be a third one. There's going to be a third one, and I have no idea how successful or non-successful it's going to be. Let's
pray it's not successful. Yeah.
Right, and I do think that they're going to try to claim that he's interfering in Ukraine. that he's interfering with Ukraine, and is because you're supposed to ignore the fact that Zelensky came over and did a campaign stop for Harris and Walz, and then did a friendly interview telling everybody that he was hoping that Harris was going to win. You know, you're supposed to ignore all that, but they're going to say that Trump is interfering because he says he can get the election, he can get the war taken care of in 24 hours. That they're going to attack him for that.
You're right. You're going to do the Russia thing all over again.
Yep.
So the
Yep.
October supplies will be the Russia again too. And you're saying
Yep.
the P Diddy. That's breaking news here. Is the P Diddy connection? Even though
They're going to throw those two, and I do think that they're going to, you know, stick with their old favorites. Their old favorites. Let's stick with their old favorites. They got the assassination, but they're going to say he's a racist. They're going to say he's, you know, pro-Nazi, pro-whatever. They're going to say all that. That's going to be the typical $1 billion day. So you can expect more of that as we go forward. So there we go, bro. That's all I got to say. It looks like it's time to go because his phone's beeping.
Yep.
All right. Any final thoughts, brother?
It's all good.
Because God loves you. There we go, brother.